Good morning. Before we begin, just a quiet check in. This preparation is long, and some days it feels heavier than others. The excitement of what this examination can do for your life, sitting right next to the quiet pressure of knowing how much is riding on it. Both feelings are normal, and both can sit in the same body on the same day. This is the Sociology Desk, issue 60. Today, we are taking one live protest story out of India and placing it directly against classical elite theory. Because that single move, syncing a current event with the correct thinker and the correct concept, is exactly what separates a candidate who scores well in sociology optional from one who does not. Our story today is the Cockroach Janta Party protest movement in India. It began as a satirical youth response after a Supreme Court judge described India's youth as cockroaches, and it grew into a large protest march toward Parliament, demanding the resignation of the education minister over examination paper leaks. An activist's hunger strike, followed by his forced hospitalization by the police, and video of a police crackdown circulating widely on social media, turned a joke into a genuine political moment. In your syllabus, this sits inside Paper 1, the unit on politics and society, specifically the subunit on power elite, bureaucracy, pressure groups, and political parties. Remember, in your answer, this event is only your evidence. The theory is always your destination. Let us build the first concept in plain language. An Italian thinker named Gaetano Mosca argued that in every society, no matter its constitution, a small organized minority always ends up ruling over a large unorganized majority. He called this the ruling class. Notice how directly this applies here. A remark from the judicial bench dismissing an entire generation as vermin, followed by a heavy-handed police response to their protest, is exactly this organized minority asserting its right to define and discipline the majority. Now you may be wondering, how do I make this sound like theory and not just commentary? This is where the American sociologist C. Wright Mills sharpens the point. Mills said, modern power sits at the coincidence of command posts. In his case, political, military, and corporate elites acting together. Here, apply it as the judiciary's symbolic authority, the police's coercive machinery, and the political executive's silence on the paper leak scandal, all converging in the same moment. That convergence, not any single villain, is what Mills calls the power elite. Here is the twist that makes this a genuinely 20-mark question. A German sociologist, Robert Michels, studied socialist parties and trade unions and found that every organization, however democratic its founding ideal, tends toward oligarchy, meaning control concentrates in the hands of a few leaders as the organization professionalizes. He called this the iron law of oligarchy. Now watch how this protest movement gave itself a name, the Cockroach Janta Party, and a recognizable founder. That is precisely the organizational drift Michels warned about. Even a movement born out of mocking the elite can start growing its own elite. But do not stop there, because a strong answer needs a counterpoint. Manuel Castells, writing about the network society, argued that mass self-communication, ordinary people filming and sharing the crackdown themselves, without waiting for any leader to authorize it, gives modern movements a horizontal strength that Michels, writing before the internet, could never have imagined. Holding these two thinkers in tension is what a top-scoring answer does. Let us fix one thinker firmly in your memory today, Gaetano Mosca. His concept is the ruling class, and his major work is called The Ruling Class. Here is a formulation you can legitimately reproduce in your own words in the exam hall. Mosca argued that in every political society, two classes appear: a class that rules and a class that is ruled. And it is the organization of the ruling minority, not its size, that is the true basis of political power. Say that sentence to yourself a few times. If you can write that with confidence and then immediately apply it to today's protest in one line, you have already done more than most candidates manage in a full paragraph. Now let me put on the examiner's hat for a moment, because this is the most important slide today. Picture two answer scripts on the same question about this protest movement. The average script, sitting around 14 out of 20, spends most of its 250 words narrating the protest, the hunger strike, the police action, almost like a newspaper report, and then bolts on the word oligarchy somewhere near the end without really explaining it. The script that scores 18 or 19 does something completely different. It opens with a structural claim, something like political power in complex societies rests with an organized minority, not with a definition and not with the news story. It names Mosca's ruling class precisely, then brings in Michels' power elite to show institutional convergence, then raises Michels' iron law of oligarchy as a genuine risk facing the movement itself, and only then, in one or two sentences at most, mentions the actual crackdown and the hunger strike as evidence. It closes by placing Castells against Michels as a counter perspective before offering a forward-looking synthesis. That is the exact recipe. The event is your evidence. The theory is your destination. And the candidate who remembers that gets the extra 4 or 5 marks that decide a rank. Here is a probable question built directly from today's discussion. In the light of the Cockroach Janta Party protest movement, critically examine Robert Michels' concept of the iron law of oligarchy in relation to contemporary digitally mobilized social movements. If you attempt this, remember the structure we just built. Open with theory, bring in Mosca and Michels to set the stage. Use Michels as your core argument. Counter with Castells. And use the protest only as your supporting evidence. Let us lock in today's revision in under a minute. Mosca gave us the ruling class, an organized minority governing an unorganized majority. Michels gave us the power elite, the convergence of political, coercive, and institutional command posts. Michels gave us the iron law of oligarchy, the warning that even anti-elite movements can turn oligarchic as they organize. And Castells gave us the network society, the counter-argument that digital mass self-communication can resist that oligarchic drift. 4 thinkers, 1 live protest, 1 20-mark answer structure. Keep repeating to yourself, the event is your evidence. The theory is your destination. That is today's session. This preparation is a long and often draining road. And the real secret is not any single day of brilliant reading. It is showing up for this same discipline again tomorrow, and the day after, even when nobody is watching. One more thing before you go. Every single day, our team prepares the complete answer block for every event we cover. The full model answer, the answer skeleton, the quotation arsenal, the concept flashcards, and the examiner notes. And this goes only to subscribers of the Sociology Desk. If you would like access, you can either leave your email in the comments below or write to us directly at team@upscdesk.com. I will say this honestly. It is a paid